All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is chapter 3.7. It is our last section in chapter 3, and in it we're going to look at linear functions. And in this last section here, we're going to do two things. We're going to be able to evaluate a function for a particular x value, and we're going to be able to evaluate for an x value when given a particular function value. So let's go ahead and take a look at this again. So remember, functions. A function is a relationship between inputs and outputs such that each input has exactly one output. Remember, my function is like a machine, right? I put one thing in, like a 5, and I should get one thing out, like a 3, okay? I put a number in, something happens, I get a number out. As long as I put one thing in and I get one thing out, everything's okay. If I put two things in and they come out to be the same thing, right? Like I put a 5 in and I get a 3, I put a 6 in and I get a 3, that's also okay. Like that's an alright thing to have happen. But what can't happen is I put a 5 in and I get out a 2 and a 3, right? That's bad. That makes it not a function. So a function is a relationship between inputs and outputs where each input has exactly one output. If it has more than one, it doesn't work. So if a relation is a function, we can give that function a name. We can name it and use special notation to denote, meaning to show, that it is a function. So if we're looking at a linear function in slope-intercept form, it looks like this. F of x, right? This how we say this right here. This is f of x. Notice this is an f times x. That is not what this is. This is f of x. That's how we say that. F of x, meaning the function of x. Equals mx plus b. Notice that this is the same mx plus b as you get from y equals mx plus b. The thing to notice here is that f of x and y are basically the same thing. They are both outputs. And so we can write this either way, f of x equals mx plus b or y equals mx plus b, because they are both outputs. All right. This thing here, this f of x, this f part is just the name. Okay. It is the name of it. This is a function named f. We could just as easily write g of x, and it would be g of x, the function named g. I could also write smiley face of x, right? It doesn't matter. It's just a name. That first number is just the name. This number in the parentheses is the input. It's the number that I'm inputting into the function. So here I have a function named f with an input x equal to mx plus b, meaning if I take my input and I multiply it by m, and I add b, I'm going to get my output. All right? So let's do an example. What is the value of the function f of x equals 3x minus 15 when x equals negative 3? So notice that we're saying we're giving a value for x, okay? Which means this is my input. So I'm going to rewrite this so it says f of negative 3, because I'm taking my function named f and I'm inputting negative 3. Then I'm going to replace the negative 3 in my function over here. And then I'm going to use my order of operations to solve. So this is negative 9 minus 15, and then f of negative 3 is negative 24, right? And that's it. That's my answers. This means the function f, when input is negative 3, has an output of negative 24. That's what this says, right? This is how we translate this. The function f, when input is negative 3, has an output of negative 24. In other words, my function machine, when I put in negative 3, the f of x function turns it into a negative 24. Okay? It's an input-output relationship. The number in the parentheses is my input. The number that it's equal to over here is my output. Let's do one more example. This time we're going to be finding an x value. So for the function g of x equals 2x minus 10, so notice that I changed the name. This is the g function now. Find the value of x so that g of x equals 6. Notice the difference. In the previous problem, it told us that x equals negative 3 and to find the value of the function. I plugged negative 3 into the function and I found it. On this problem, it says that the function value is 6, right? This is the output now that it's giving us. And then it says find the value of x. That's the input. We are being given an output and we need to find an input. So instead of plugging in 6 in for the x, I'm going to replace g of x with 6. Let's try that again. We messed that up. So I'm going to replace g of x with 6. And notice that I'm not given an x value, so I'm leaving the x like that. When that happens, I'm going to just solve this equation, and we do that using the same methods we've always done to find the x value, which is 8. So notice that they gave us the function's output, and we found the input of it. All right, I've got 4 examples of these to do on your Canvas. Please go and check that out, and then the next video will go over those answers. So we will see you in just a couple of minutes.